What did you like the best there, Frank? We know that was a need going into the draft, right?
Are you coming out of retirement? You gonna come out of retirement, big fella?
Oh my God! Look, hey guys, like they gave us an A- for our grade, so I'm not even going to talk about the guys that we didn't get. We're going to talk about the guys that we did get. I think our cornerback Will Johnson could be a good receiver, and Denzel Burke if on defense as well. If those guys become starting cornerbacks and they walk away with, hopefully at the end of the year, 9 to 10 picks together.
Spoken like a true politician as you sidestep the question.
It's not a politician. He's an ambassador.
Oh, okay.
Big difference. Ambassador.
So where's that 4-3 home run hitting
where's that
the defense guy out there, Frank?
You know what, guys? I looked at it the same thing, and I couldn't. I thought we were going to. Our desire was to go out and get some receivers that I thought was going to come in and maybe bring some explosiveness to this receiving core. We do have young talent at receiving core. I do recognize that. But in the second year of this same receiving core, Marvin Harrison Jr.'s first year. In the second year, I thought we was going to go out and get somebody with some speed. That's just being honest. And they must believe that the guys that we have is more than enough, and the speed that we have is more than enough in regards to the receiving core. Or they're just going to let the young guns go out and play. But when you look at the draft, we were defensive sided. And again, if this is a copycat league, then we saw exactly what defense domination looked like out of the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And they were dominating with young talent and developed young talent. And so maybe this is something that JG and Monty thought was important to the Cardinals.
With that and taking that into effect, I get all that, which is great. But the Philadelphia Eagles had some weapons on that offensive side. Obviously, with Saquon Barkley coming out of the backfield, A.J. Brown outside. When you look at the offense now, just strictly the offense, and thinking they took care of the needs of the defense, and you're hoping, to your point, that they'll go with the young guys. But Frank, I don't know where that home run hitter is going to come from. Would you take a flyer on a free agent kid coming out of high school? It's got some good speed, and would be one of those raw talents that just having him in a game would help out as far as being a threat.
I agree with you. I look at it the same way you look at it. I mean, our offense averaged 23.5, points last year. Basically, and that's offense per game. Defense only gave up 22 points per three a game. And so, but when it comes to what we expect out of our offense with the likes of Kyler Murray, James Conner, and again, we do have big-bodied receivers, but we need explosiveness down the field to bring that balance about. We didn't see that come from in the draft. I know we can look at that with our own eyes and say we didn't see that come out of the draft this year. And maybe that's what I'm saying. It's got to be something that they're hoping that the development of this young talent will bring some explosive plays to the table with the likes of Kyler Murray after one more year.
Frank, they will take a look when teams sign their draft picks, and then they start to waive players. So there might be some people that are available that they might look at there. Would you take a flyer on free agent Amari Cooper?
I wouldn't necessarily I wouldn't necessarily because I think the mileage and the ticket for ticket price is way more than actual the production price is there for him at this stage in his game. Is he a capable receiver? Yes. Is he still a quality receiver? Probably yes. But when you have the youth of Amari Harrison, we saw what Gregory George could do if given the real opportunity. And then we see what our tight end's capable of doing. So, there's only one ball on the football field. Mm-hmm. And what we know about that is this system that we're running with with our running game, our tight ends being more involved, giving Kyler a little bit more disciplined offense is where this offense is at. And I don't necessarily know if we're going to get to that 3 or 4 or 5 wide receiver type package where we're just gunslinging it. And that's something that I know Manuch and we've talked about for years. And it just hasn't been the thing that's been has not been the thing that we've seen come forth out of this offense.
You got to appreciate, you being an Auburn grad, the influence of the SEC, getting a couple guys from the SEC and with 3 guys from the Big Ten that, big time, big boy football means something going to the next level. And I got to believe Monty Ossenfort and his staff really focused on that when they looked at the best players at certain positions. I got to make you feel good that that's going to continue on with the Cardinals.
No, I agree with that, man. Like, look, this team. At the end of the day, it becomes about speed, agility, and then the physicalness of your football team. And if you have those things and they're working, I think that's something that we upgraded. We definitely upgraded this in this draft. What we went out and got. They went and got guys that come from winning programs, guys that know how to win, guys that are physical, their size match their abilities. There are no lame ducks in what the Cardinals drafted this year, and I'm looking forward to seeing how well those guys adjust. I'm like you still. I wish we would have went out and got maybe 2 or 3 receivers, and maybe a receiver out of the draft that would have came along. That would have been a good eye candy for the Cardinals and somebody that can go out and make plays.
Frank Sanders is our guest on the Right Toyota guest line. Okay, let's go to off the wide receivers and to the defensive guys that they did indeed select. It seems that everybody has graded out the defensive draft that the Cardinals had at an A-, B+. Are you in that category as well, Frank, or do you see it differently?
No, I see it the same. Again, you're talking about Oregon, Ohio State, Texas. You're talking about, Ole Miss and Michigan. Mm-hmm. Outside of really the only lame duck out of that, unfortunately, would be the guy from Ole Miss. And that's just, but you can't pass on size, skill, and ability what Walter Nolen's been able to do over at Ole Miss. I mean, you're talking about guys that's coming from winning programs. We have seen it sometimes in the draft where they go get a guy from some Sam Houston State. No knock on my boy Michael Bankston, but just saying,
easy Cowboy, easy. He's a listener now.
I know, but they go get guys from different names. We always want guys that come from programs that we feel like they're going to add to the table. Again, the college football saw a real boost in the competition level last year with the changes that they did in the playoff system, and that was a good boost. And everybody got a chance to watch guys play a little bit more different kind of branch of football. The Cardinals went out this year and went and got some players, man. And hopefully these guys stay healthy. Hopefully they can come in and make some plays and add to what this defense has been able to do. And the defense has been solid. We know that. Offensively, we have not seen the explosiveness we wanted to see. And hopefully, as the free agency period should start to come about, they'll go out and get some guys that can still add to the team.
Frank, you talk about the competition, which will be plenty with the front seven. They might be 2, 3, 4 deep at certain positions. But is the 3-game preseason enough, number one, for competition, number two, to help the young guys develop, and then for Walter Nolen, if he does get periodic starts over Calais Campbell, to develop? That's got to be one of the Achilles heel and getting these young guys ready is just the 3 preseason games, I'd imagine.
No, there's all these things that have been question marks to getting guys ready, which is definitely our OTAs and the limitness of how much these guys can practice, how much contact they can have. That's 1, 2. When you look at the preseason only being 3 games, we know that in itself is still, we figure it not to be enough in regards to actually getting the younger guys the reps they need, or the veteran guys that are playing. By the time they come into the season, they don't have a whole bunch of reps because the limited amount of contact they can have and the limited amount of reps they will get in the preseason, because you actually want to see the young guys that you draft to get the reps and see if they can, they can maintain what 4 quarters of football look like in the NFL. That in itself would be a question mark. But again, that's the mark that we always see, that coaches find, that fine line between violations of rules and actually being able to go out and coach guys and actually get them ready to play, 17 weeks of football. Sometimes experienced teams win in that development because they're ready. Those guys are more professionally ready to go out and play 4 quarters of football. Sometimes younger teams, such as ourselves, have been in the past. We find ourselves kind of waiting for week 3 to 4 to kind of really come out and play football.
Frank, the commissioner came out pretty much and said, we're going to get eventually there, maybe in another year or so, to an 18-game schedule. That means they would only have 2 preseason games. I'd just like to pick your brain on that, being a former player and what you were just discussing. Start first with 18 games and then take me to only 2 preseason games.
I mean, all they've done is divided my money, but increased their money as a player. I definitely know that. They just shortened 1 week's check by a couple $1,000. That's all they've done, and prolonged my money. But I think the reality of it is, this is what I would really like to see outside of. I would prefer they not shorten the preseason games, but I would like them to increase the roster. That way, you can have more players on the field. You can have more guys that can get more reps, and then you're forced to, allow guys. Some guys can take a week off or 2 weeks off to kind of rest their bodies if you have more guys on the roster that's developing, one, that has the ability to go out and perform. And you give the veterans sometimes maybe what is that thing they call in the NBA where they take a hall pass day?
Load management.
Load
Yeah.
management.
Yes.
Yep.
So if the NFL had a load management contract, you can add another guy to it, or maybe 4 or 5 guys on the roster. That will give the coach an opportunity to say maybe the first string quarterback needs to sit down. His arm is looking a little jello-ish. We need to give him a little 1 more week's rest. Maybe the running back or offensive lineman or D lineman to give them some rest. So for maybe an extra week of healing their injuries, it might help. But with a limited amount of roster and adding more games, you create the same problems. Guys have to go out and play, and they have to play, and it's hard to do it on the scheduling that they have now that football is Monday night, Thursday night, and Sunday night. I think there's another night of football that they're playing in the NFL when it gets down to once college ball stops. Sometimes they play on different.
Well, they play on Saturday. They play on Saturdays when you get late in the season in December too.
Right, and that changes the amount of rest time you get in the NFL. So add more players, keep the preseasons the same. You'll eliminate some of the injuries, or you'll have just the same amount of quality play because guys actually get rest days or rest weeks.
Hey, real quick, we don't have much time, but just your overall take with Sanders dropping to the 5th round.
You know what? It's a sad thing, but it's a good thing. Sad in the fact that, no one thought he'd go that far or wait that late. That's that. Number 2, I thought that it's a good thing. Now he got the opportunity he wanted. He wanted to hear his name being called. Rock, there is nothing greater than a player playing since he was 6 years old to whatever age he started playing. For the time he gets a chance to play, to hear his name called, that an NFL team actually drafted him. That's a good moment for him and his family. And we saw the action of his surprise, his humility, and his gratefulness for the opportunity.
You weren't pranked at all when you were drafted, were you? Did you get drafted? Did anybody prank you?
They couldn't have called me I had a flip phone at that time. He was a flip phone calling me with a prank. Nah.
Yeah, how many did you get, Frank? I got 2 or 3 that afternoon waiting for guys like my ex teammates.
Man, I didn't get any prank calls. I'm glad of that too, because it's just one of those things, man. That's a sad situation that happened.
Yep.
If you look at it, I mean, it's funny and it's sad at the same time. But again, there's a sense of humility that happened in that moment for all of them involved. And at the end of the day, I hope all of them involved becomes really happy for the opportunity of moving to the next level, playing at the next level, and even for a dad watching his sons get the opportunity to play a game that they've been playing since they was little.
Thank you, Frank. Have a good week.
All right, guys, have a good one.
That's Frank Sanders joining us here on Rock Minuch with Jimmy B on ESPN 620. You can follow him on X at Frank Sanders 81. Brought to you today by The Taco Spot. Tomorrow's Taco Tuesday, $2 tacos at participating locations all day long. The Taco Spot for a location near you, and they are everywhere, and they're growing. Head to tacospotaz.com. All right, our Steve Fournier Roofing, it's your call question of the day. Some results there, but you're going to hear the general manager of the Cardinals next. It's Rock Minuch, JB, ESPN 620.
I'm attorney Kevin Rowe. I often get asked, how can Lerner and Rowe